So, a very good evening to everyone once again. So, just now, 10 minutes before, I have done the GS1 analysis of the geography paper. Now, I'll be taking the environment also. So, if you've seen the whole paper of GS3 as well, so you have seen that how many questions are there in GS3. Three environment particularly, we had 2-3 questions, and in disaster management, we have one. So, let's discuss how contradictions. So first question is, discuss how the contradiction between rapid infrastructure development and disaster risk reduction in ecologically sensitive areas of India can be managed with suitable examples. So you have to write the rapid infrastructure development, how it can be changed, how it can be merged. So one thing that you need to understand, that you need to make a balance. You don't have to go with that, okay, rapid infrastructure, etc. is a need of that. That's true. But how it can be balanced with keeping in mind that the environment is also important and sensitive. And there's definitely, we talk about in present scenario, it is quite sensitive and fragile. So you could have started with the introduction first. So intro would have included the points such as the rapid infrastructure development and disaster risk reductions often appear contradictory in India's ecologically sensitive areas where roads, dams, tourism projects can disturb fragile ecosystem and increase vulnerability. So projects should undergo the cumulative environmental and disaster impact assessment. Definitely. अगर कोई भी आप project कर रहे हैं, so definitely you should go under the environment impact assessment. And this environment impact assessment include many stages. I hope that you must be knowing about it, screening, etc. And recently there was a infrastructure project, we call it as the Great Nicobar project, which is developing in the Nicobar Island, and it is one of the mega projects. It is the 72,000 crore project, which is gone under tremendous EIA environmental impact assessment process. And now also there are a lot of deals and the trades which is happening between the tribal people and the government over the issues of the area. So definitely, so you should once go with that. So right. So another example, you can take the Char Dham project. Examples are must in this. That without example, you cannot approach this question. So I would suggest you, apart from just writing the main examination, it's also important to write the example. Example, you can give the Char Dham project in the Himalaya and illustrate the need to balance the connectivity with the slope stability. So if you know, that's very important that we are developing a lot of infrastructure in the Himalayan regions, because it's a strategic location. We have a critical threat. It's a strategic location because China is there, Pakistan is there. So we need to build that area. There are a lot of small border villages which have been made. Now, seeing that as one of the top priority, we also have to see that how we can stabilize, we can bring the balance. So stability is one of the, definitely we have to see the slope stability should not be disturbed. Otherwise, it can bring a lot of harmful and the critical problems in that area. So one is this, then illustrate the balance connected with slope stability, damage and ecological safeguard. Next example, you can write down Joshi Mat subsidence Uttarakhand. Recently, आपने 2024 में ये देखा होगा, Joshi Mat subsidence was one of the issue which became important and got into the highlights because it was impacting the whole stability of the area, and they had to forcefully evacuate that area and said that no more hotels, no more infrastructure can be done in this particular area. So the people population was exceeding the carrying capacity of the particular area. The third could be infrastructure should adopt the nature-based solution. Infrastructure को क्या adopt करना चाहिए? Nature-based solution. Should adopt nature-based solution. It should adopt nature-based solution. Next, local communities must participate in planning, monitoring, because local community का role बहुत important है. उनके बिना नहीं हो सकता. They have to take the onus. Local planning, local community is one of the main thing that one need to stress upon. This governance has to improve this thing. Okay. And independent environment regulation, strict enforcements, and transparent project should be implemented. Now conclusion में क्या लिखेंगे आप? Conclusion has to be balanced. As I was telling you that हमेशा आंसर का अप्रोच ऐसा one side inclined नहीं रहना चाहिए, balance रहना चाहिए. So it is the best conclusion that you could have written, and also include SDG. I always say environment का आंसर SDG के बिना incomplete है. जितना भी SDG आप इससे relation में डाल सकते हैं, लिख सकते हैं तो लिखिए. So India must pursue risk-informed and ecologically sensitive development, balancing infrastructure needs with environmental carrying capacity and community resilience. Such approach aligns with SDG 9, which is industry innovation. It aligns with SDG 9, जो आपका है industry and innovation, and infrastructure SDG 11, which is sustainable cities and communities. We should talk and more stress on the sustainable cities and communities. ठीक है. Next आपका होगा SDG 13, which is your climate change, ensuring that development become resilient, inclusive, and sustainable. So SDG is must. SDG 13 भी climate change भी इसमें include होना चाहिए. So that's how your conclusion should be. Okay. Coming to the next one, which is discuss the aim and the goals. Abhi I was discussing the geography analysis only about this. So it's indeed one of the very important, और इस बार बहुत straight question पूछा गया. I'm very glad. बहुत ही straight question आया है. Coming Montreal biodiversity, पर इन्होंने पूछा है इसका characteristic. तो ये चीज आपको पता होना चाहिए. Environment के question exam, environment की classes में I always stress on this. Mention India's commitments and initiative to achieve the goals and targets of this framework. Important है. ठीक है. Okay. चलिए बात करते हैं. So coming a Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework adopted in 2022 under CBD. UN CBD provides a global roadmap to halt and reverse biodiversity loss. ठीक है. क्या आपको रिवर्स करना है? आपको बायोडाइवर्सिटी लॉस रिवर्स करना है by 2030. By 2030, you have to reverse the biodiversity loss and achieve world where humanity lives in harmony with nature. Right? आपको ऐसा world achieve करना है जहाँ पे humanity किसके साथ रह रही है? Harmony के साथ रह रही है, nature के साथ रह रही है, in harmony. So key objective है conservation. पहला आपका key objective आएगा conservation. That you need to conserve the important resources. और resources क्या हैं आपके? Obviously land, water. These are the important resources. Ecosystem पूरा जो बनाते हैं. So conservation, effectively conserve and manage at least 30% of terrestrial inland water, coastal and marine areas by 2030. So why 30? That they are focusing on 30 by 30 area should be the target first that should be achieved. इतना पहले आप achieve करिए. दूसरा है restoration. पहला आपका आ जाएगा point, अब उसका characteristic में conservation, फिर दूसरा आएगा restoration. So restore क्या करना है आपको? Just have a look at it. Restore at least 30% of degraded terrestrial inlet water. Sustainable use. Next point is sustainable use. Ensure sustainable management of agriculture. Sustainable use. Ensure sustainable use of agriculture, forestry, fisheries while maintaining ecosystem services. And then last है आपका pollution reduction. That is also an important point, that you have to reduce the pollution. Last है आपका pollution reduction. That reduce pollution and include plastic and nutrient pollution and control the invasive species and finance. आपको इन सारी चीजों के लिए क्या चाहिए? You have to get the more and more finance. उसके बिना नहीं होगा, तो investment is required. So mobilize at least $200 million annually for biodiversity by 2030 and reduce the harmful subsidies. Right? Right. I hope it has been understood. Conclusion में आपको बैलेंस करके लिखना है, एसटीजी को मेंशन करना है, सीबीडी की बात हो रही है, तो प्लीज मेक श्योर कि आप वो रिलेटेड एसटीजी मेंशन करें यहाँ पे, राइट? So 30 by 30 is your 30% area should be conserved by the timeline of 2030. Okay, so that's all. And mention India's commitment. एक और इसका point है, mention India's commitment, कि इंडिया क्या कर रहा है इस respect में, what India is doing. So with respect to India, you can write down the same thing that you can talk about the restoration of land that India is doing and how they're restoring by different management of the different resources. For example, the national parks, the wildlife sanctuaries, the coastal areas, all of these have been restored by the India. You can write down all that initiative in this examples. Okay. Okay. Okay, so write down, all the people who are writing it, लिखिए. So what we are doing for 30-30 conservation क्या कर रहे हैं? पहले आप ये लिखिए, हम 30-30 conservation के लिए क्या कर रहे हैं? Write down 30-30 conservation. India's commitment. You can write down the heading, India's commitment, and start with that. First point, लिखिए. India has expanded protected areas and conservation reserves. For example, Project Tiger and Project Elephant. For example, Project Tiger and Project Elephant. Okay, that is number one. Second would be ecosystem restoration. Ecosystem restoration. How it is aligned, write down. The Green India Mission produces and promotes afforestation, restoration. The Green India Mission. Green India Mission. These are the examples that they have asked for, so you to mention that, please underline. Green India Mission produces and promotes afforestation, restoration and enhancement of ecosystem services. Examples आप इसमें लिख सकते हैं, और अगर आपको एग्जाम्पल लिखना है तो इसमें लिखिए मिष्टी प्रोग्राम, which is your mangrove conservation that you are doing, restoration, मिष्टी program, right? More examples that could be added in this is, it produces a coastal resilience, right? Then species conservation, क्योंकि species भी important है, species conserve होंगी तो ही आपका बाकी एरिया भी कंजर्व होगा. You have the Project Dolphin. You are also protecting the turtle, etc. Right? Then Project Snow Leopard addresses the threats to vulnerable species. Then finally, the fourth point would include the biological development. Right now, biological development, and the fourth one should be community participation. Sorry, please change that. It should be community participation at the local level. It is required that people should take the participation in the conservation of the areas. For example, the kind of the practices that they are doing at the coastal area, for example, they are using a lot of plastics, etc., should be stopped. Otherwise, it is going to impact the biodiversity of the area, right? So one of the example could be this. And conserving biological restoration. Okay, conclusion will be India's approach integrates conservation, restoration, sustainable use, community participation, thereby translating the KMG. This is coming biodiversity program vision into national action while balancing development with ecological security. A very balanced answer, very balanced conclusion should be written. Okay. Next question is, what is this? Okay. What are the challenges of solid waste management in India? Discuss the government policy framework on solid waste management and discuss the success and the failure cases of the Delhi Indore cities, highlighting the salient features of the solid waste management initiative. Okay. So solid waste management has been there, and again, it's one of the thing that people have started talking about. Reason being because they think that this is something that it should be done by the people. The people are the main actors of this. So now, if you see the charts also from many years, Indore has been at the top only. They are doing fairly well in this, and Surat is also doing very well. So write down India generates. So it should be started with the data. That how it has started it. It should have been started with the good data. Yeah, intro होना चाहिए था. I mean, you don't have to literally like data like that. आपको ऐसे लिखना चाहिए था. India generates over 1.5 lakh tons of municipal solid waste, like that. India generates 1.5 lakh tons of municipal solid waste, making scientific waste management a major urban challenge, making the scientific waste management an major urban challenge. Rapid urbanization, changing consumption pattern. Rapid urbanization, changing consumption pattern, changing consumption pattern, and inadequate municipal capacity have widened the gap between waste generation and processing. It has widened the gap between waste generation and processing. Challenges लिखेंगे, poor segregation at the source. So challenges to face कर रहा है Indore city या फिर कोई भी other city is that they are not maintaining the segregation part. They are the poor source segregation. अगर आप देखेंगे, you can take the example of Japan. For example, you can compare this with the Japan. Japan has a very well managed source segregation process. The citizens are themselves quite aware that how they have to separate the litter, how they have to separate the wastage at the source, and they literally have a lot of respect for the people who pick up all the garbage. They take away the garbage from their home. So they do have a lot of respect for them. So there is a value system which has been developed, and they've been trained on that. And there's another thing is that they do get fines. I mean, they get imposed with the fine if they are not separating properly. If some non-biodegradable substance has been put in the biodegradable, then definitely there will be the imposition of the fine. So such strict rules are there, and citizens themselves are also quite aware. So first thing is this. Second is inadequate collection, transportation, processing, inadequate collection, transportation, inadequate collection, transportation, processing, and scientific landfill capacity. And scientific landfill capacity. Okay. Next would be low recycling and compositing with large quantity. Low recycling and compositing. Low recycling and compositing with large quantity, ending up at ending up further aggregating impurities. Next, what is the government doing? What is the government framework talks about? So write down गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी फ्रेमवर्क, एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट, ये बहुत ही ऑब्वियस है और हम बहुत टाइम से इसके बारे में बात करते आ रहे हैं, विच इज एनवायरमेंट प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट 1986. नेक्स्ट वुड बी सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट एक्ट 2016. So write down solid, not act, it has to be released. Sorry. 2016. So write down Environmental Protection Act 1986 provides the overarching legal basis. Second would be Solid Waste Management Rules 2016 mandate source segregation door to door. Mandates source segregation door to door. Next, processing biodegradable waste. Then Swachh Bharat Mission Urban, very important. ये आपको बहुत importantly लिखना था. Swachh Bharat Mission hyphen urban, very important. Swachh Bharat Mission hyphen urban promotes scientific waste management and OPF plus outcomes, which is your open defecation, right? Plus outcomes. Next, there is a Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0 also. So write down Swachh Bharat Mission Urban 2.0 focuses on garbage-free cities through source segregation, material sourcing facilities. Material sourcing facilities. So that's all. You can write the example of Indore, how they have been improved, how they have continuously and consistently they have secured such a good position always. And you can also write the challenges that they are facing. For example, the source segregation is one of the important, the bottleneck of achieving the mission correctly. One is this. Second is the awareness among the citizens is quite less, so they need to be trained. Okay. Now, community participation is a cornerstone of effective disaster management. Analyze this statement with suitable example from India. Okay, so they are asking for community participation, that community should participate at a greater level, which is very, very important for effective disaster management. And analyze this statement with suitable example from India, and also discuss the challenges to community participation and measures to strengthen it. So that is what they are asking. Okay, so how you have to start this is the last question of the whole analysis. So this is these kind of question I talk as the analytical question, where you have lot of the space to write. So you could have started with the disaster as a local event, so and with local consequences. Hence, communities are often the first responders, right? So if you see the community क्या होती है, वो first is one which experiences and they are the first responders. So obviously they need to be trained. They are one of the most important weapon. If you are strategizing anything for any area, the community has to be trained first. These are the area. These are the I should say the frontiers who are working at the first hand, and they are having that first hand experience of that particular event. So they are the one who should be trained, and participation combines. Obviously, the community participation should combine the local knowledge also of the area's social network and collective action with institutional disaster management. So that is number one. And with that, you can also write the examples of which is happening and where the relief features. For example, how the team, NDRF team has gone to particular area, for example, Odisha or in Assam, that how they have managed the floods, how they could, with the help of the community participation, even the NDRF was able to identify some areas where the people were stuck, or how they can go to that particular area, because it becomes very difficult for even the people who are coming from the different teams to access the area. एकदम से access कर पाना in such a very short span of time, it's not possible. Only the local people can tell you and navigate you in that time how to do certain things and where to navigate. So this is very, very important that the local community participation should be taken into account. They should be trained well, they should be prepared well, so that more and more number of lives could be saved. Point number one. Second is that early warning and preparedness. Even they should be trained that how they have to, what they have to do in the preparedness time and the early warning if they are. So क्या actually में क्या करना है, right? And obviously the committee, at the committee level, they should know that how much, if possible, the money, finances they have to save, so that this particular, to combat this particular event, how they can use their finances, how they can use their saved money. So ये सब कुछ क्या है कि train करना है हमें. So local communities can disseminate the warnings faster, identify vulnerable households, and apart from that, मैं तो ये भी बोलती हूँ कि इनको they should have the financial the teaching also. I mean, they should be aware about, they should be aware about all these factors as well, that how they have to save the, not only the lives but also the different finances also from the different periods. So first is that. Second is that local knowledge. Communities understand local floodplains, safe shelters, and ecological vulnerabilities better than the external agencies. For example, Kerala fishermen use their boats to rescue the stranded people. As I said always, that for the outsider, it's not difficult. It's not very easy to navigate the place in the span of time. They would take their time. They would take to analyze that how they could reach to that area. Only with the help of the local participation. For example, they have given the example of the Kerala fishermen who have participated quite enthusiastically with the NDRF team, and they have saved a lot of lives. Okay. And then response and recovery. Self-help groups, NGOs, local bodies facilitate relief distribution and livelihood restoration. So that's all with the environment analysis and disaster management analysis. We have done the 3 questions of environment and ecology. Environment and ecology has been always an important section wherein I have always told you it comes in the essays part also. So you should do it thoroughly. And I hope that you have understood and liked the session. So if you have any doubt with respect to mentorship session or any query that you have, that you want to take the admission in GS, NCRT, or any optional subject, then you can definitely contact Plutus for that. Thank you.